Hello everybody. Now what I wanted to do today was to, I'm setting up this confident and happiness workshop in my bedroom so that I can show you the goals that I've got, so that you can understand how some of the processes I use to set my goals, and some other things that I'll talk to you about as well. So a little bit jiggery here because I've had to sort of do a quick change to come and run the workshop here. So so today it's about, in New Zealand here, we've had 31 days of January, so we've had a month already, and I'm actually still refining my goals. And so one of the things with goals, it's that as you have something in your life that you decide doesn't suit you or doesn't feel quite right, and doesn't feel comfortable, or you want something better, then part of that process is, you know what you don't want, so you refine, you get your goal closer and tighter to what it is that you actually do want. And so that's kind of what we're talking about today, plus a whole lot of other things. So my name is Janice Davies. If you've caught me live on the Success Attitude Movement website or page on Facebook, well, that's great because you're a member there. And if not, and you've caught me somewhere else, come and join the page. I've been working on this for 30 odd years. I started because I was in a bullying relationship and I had 2 young daughters. And my goal was to create a happier home for them, a positive home for them, a way where I wasn't getting bullied because I didn't realize that I was, and I didn't know what to do. I just knew I was unhappy. And also I had 2 children that were, babies, 3 and 18 months old, that were my responsibility, that I needed to make sure that hello Mary, I can see that you're there joining us. So that I could make sure that I was going to be a positive role model, because being a mum, hello Annette, being a mum is the most important job in the world, and I'm creating the way that they think. And so for me, that was really important, that I had to learn how to think better for myself so that I could teach them. And that was, to me, I think parenting is the most important job in the world. And that started my journey. So my girls are now in their 30s. They're amazing. They have been up and down and all around, but they have been guided all the way with what I do. And then they say they're not looking at books, and I used to find books that they'd seen and they'd never put them back tidy, but they were looking at quotes and things. So to me it was a journey to be a great mum. That's what started my journey. So everything I learned, I've taught to single mums, I talked to women's groups, I've talked to students, I've taught it in business, I've taught it to teenagers. So I know that what I teach works, and that's why I've been guided to do a movie. So the movie is called The Success Attitude, and the reason that I call it The Success Attitude is because when we let our brain go on its own journey and do its own thing, it comes up with negative thoughts. Now, when we want to create a new world for ourselves, a happier life, a more confident life, more success, a new lover, a new job, we actually have to change our thoughts so that they are going to align to our goal. And that's the really, really tricky thing, because it's like, if we let it do its thing, it's going to think negative, it's going to sabotage us. The thoughts from our past life, what somebody said to us, what we've seen on TV, or somebody said to us at school, doesn't line up to our goals, and we stop and we fail. And I've got that in the workbook. So if you haven't downloaded the workbook, it's in the Success Attitude Facebook group page on Facebook. It is actually in the feed, I think. I put it up in the feed, and I've also put it in the files. But you can just listen in now if you want to, and take notes and download it later on, but it is up there. So success attitude is like, there's something in your life you're not happy with. It doesn't matter what it is, but it's something, weight, lover, relationship, work, job, money, anything, and we have them all. Then we keep on going until we find the solution. Now, the solution, we might get it, and we might get it the first time. Pretty unlucky. Pretty lucky, I mean, if we do. Pretty unlucky if we don't. But being unlucky means that we've got to keep on with that success attitude mindset to keep on looking for a solution. And it might take 20 different ways to find the solution, But the success attitude is we keep going until we get a solution that suits us. Now, the solution isn't going to suit some other people because they've got different beliefs or they've got different habits or they've got all different things. You've got to find your solution that's going to work for you. And that's the most important thing, because you're the only person with your fingerprint. Your problem is similar to people, but you've actually got different thoughts in your mind. You've got different goals that you want to achieve, and that's what you've got to start looking at. And so everyone's journey has similar things. We've all got negative thoughts. We all can change them to positive thoughts. We've all got different goals, though, and we change them to our own goals. So similarities and differences. So what I want to do is I've actually printed out the pages, so I'll put them up on here so that you can see them. And the reason I started the self-esteem journey is because when I first learnt that I had low self-esteem, I was doing a parenting course. I was doing a parenting course to teach my kids how to have good self-esteem. And it was like, oh my God, mine was minus 20 out of 10. And it was there because I'd been bullied at high school. I didn't know it had affected me that way until, 20 years later, 18 years later. But the self-esteem meant that I didn't stand up for myself. I became a peacemaker. I had a very happy face and I had a very, very sad soul. So I was all misaligned. And what I say now is that we've got our mind, body, heart and soul, and often they're going east, south, north, south, east, west, all in different directions in our life. And what we want to do is to align them so that they all actually go down the same road. So we're all traveling down the same road. And afterwards, if you want to, I've got some mindset and well-being tips as well on my YouTube channel that you can watch as well. So just to move on, this is the cover. So we're looking about at happiness and confidence in this course. I'll pull it up a little bit closer so you'll be able to print this out later on. And that's really what we're going to be working on, because for everybody, happiness is something different. Happiness, I was just talking to somebody out here, and happiness is in the garden all day. And it's like, oh no, I don't want to, I'd rather be at the beach. So what's your happiness? What's the thing that makes you really happy? Now, it can be cooking, it can be sailing, it can be astrology, it can be whatever you want. It can be knitting, crocheting, engineering. You've got to find the thing that you are happy with and include that as many times as you can in your life. Now, part of learning who we are, and I've not got it in this course, but part of learning who we are is that we've got 4 personalities. We have strengths and weaknesses, and we have talents and gifts. And as we go on our journey, the more we learn about ourselves, the closer we get to aligning ourselves to the genuine happiness that we're capable of. So today what I wanted to talk about is, if you've downloaded it, I have got a copy of the level of consciousness diagram in the workbook. Now, with the level of consciousness, if you've had a look at it, it will give you an idea that what's happening to us is that when we are, just put it up on here so you can see, when we're down the bottom, this is when we're negative. This is when we're angry. We've got grief, we've got shame, we hate things, and a whole lot of negative emotions are down here. And as we go through life to happiness, what we're wanting to do is go up that scale towards up at the top, where enlightenment and peace, inner peace, and all those sorts of things. So we're going up this level of consciousness, and so you've got to decide where you are in the conscious. Let me show you one time, ladies. I was right down the bottom. I've been down there. I've wavered in the middle lots of times. I'm pretty close up the top now. I'm an oracle, so they talk to me. I had a healing the other day from upstairs, and it was amazing. So, I've done a lot of work to get up here, but I started down here. So what I want you to think about is that three emotions that you might be feeling right now. And I mentioned some of them, you know, and there's grief, there's fear. Fear is the thing that stops us. And, you know, I did a Joe Vitale course to get over some fear, miracles course, which was fantastic. So three negative emotions. Is it negative thinking? Is it shame? Is it anger? Is it blame? Is it guilt? Things that you see as thoughts, emotions that you feel within your body. Now, why we're looking at them, they are feelings that we have in our heart, and our heart is our feeling mode, our brain is our thinking mode. And so what we're trying to do is, our first exercise is to write down those three emotions that we have. And if we look at it from 2020, three negative emotions that we had from 2020, because that's when the virus came out and changed the whole world for everybody. And, you know, you might have lost your job, you might have lost your relationship, your home, somebody you loved, you know, you might have been sick yourself. It might have been just anger that it's happened. So we're looking at those emotions, because what we want to be able to do is start releasing them from our body. So three negative emotions from 2020. And then if you've been able to download that and have a look, then the next thing I want you to think about and write down is three negative emotions from before 20. So for the rest of your life, going back to when you were younger. And you know, it can be anything. It may be that it's regret that you didn't do something. Maybe it's, you know, it's unforgiveness. You know, there's so many negative emotions and feelings, and we have them within our body. So for this first exercise, what I want you to be able to do is find those and write them down in the workbook, or just write them down on a piece of paper. And then whatever those emotions are tied to. So if it's anger and it's lost your job, you're angry at losing your job. If it's grief because you've lost somebody, I'm very sorry about that, and that's really, really sad. And there's a whole grief, you know, cycle that you go through. But it's writing it down, and then on a piece of paper, like on the back of an A4, just write everything down. Just, you can carry on writing it 20 times over and over. It doesn't have to make any sense. Write over top of your own writing. And then once you've done that, and you can't write any more at that particular time, the next part of what we're doing here on our workbook is then releasing the past. So we're wanting to go from unhappiness to happiness. So what we've got to do, because all that anger, hurt, hate, unforgiveness, grief is in our bodies, we want to release it. So once we've written it down on a piece of paper, the next thing I want you to be able to do is rip up this piece of paper into 1,000 pieces. As many, I'm not going to rip this up because it's my workbook. As many pieces as you want, just rip it up, rip it up. Now, if you are on your own, which I suggest is the best, then you can say, I release this from my body. I release this from my life. Now, you may cry, you may feel sad. It's great if you're feeling that, because what we're wanting to do is release this negativity from the cells of your body, from your mind, to be able to then create something new for yourself. Now, you may have to write this down half a dozen times for 6 days until you've got nothing else that you want to write down. But what we're doing is getting all that stuff that gets lodged in our body, because it's the negativity that makes us sick. It gets in our cells get affected by our negativity, and eventually we get sick. And so the more we can release that, the better. So that's the first part of this that we need to do. And I'll just go over it again. Your negative emotions from 2020 you want to release, and negative emotions from the rest of your life. Write them down on the workbook or a piece of paper, and then scribble them down on this big piece of paper so that you can rip them up, release them. Burn them if you can, throw them in the rubbish, flush them down the toilet. I don't care where they go. The main thing is you're starting to release things from your life, because that's part one. We've got to make some space for some new goals, some new happiness, and for you to become more confident again. So that's our first part. Now, I've folded mine up so that I can show you on the screen. Now, once you've done that, if you have downloaded the workbook, you will find what I've got written there as the happiness scale. Now, I designed the happiness scale because it's really important for us to decide where we are and where we want to go to. But it's like, if you're watching Oprah, Oprah will tell you to write something down or do a self-assessment test, or you'll see a quiz in a magazine or somewhere and you might do it. But if normally you just won't do it, off the bat of a hat. So with this happiness scale, if you've been able to copy it down or get it, or even just have a look at it on the book and get an idea of what we're talking about, what I want you to do, and I've split it up into 7 areas. So first of all, there's you. Now, your most important job in life is to be the best version of yourself. And, I messed up the first 30 years of my life, but the next 30 years I've been working on it, and I still am. So, and we're all like that. We're all at a stage where when something happens in our lives, it's like a wake-up call, and we get onto our track on who we are. And no matter when we do it, it's the exact right time that it's for us to do. So the first column here is about you. And what I want you to think about is how, because the numbers are written down here if you haven't been able to copy that down 1 to 10. And so how close do you think you are to being you, the best version of you, or the true you? And, rate it up from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when I started this, I'd have to say I was way down at, probably a 1. And then when I realised that over the years I've got more to being me, I've learned, and that's what we're looking at for you as well. So if you think you're not being the true you, you might put yourself at a 1, or you might put yourself at a 5. But then the next thing is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the best version of yourself, which is the next question. So 2 questions. Where are you now from 1 to 10? And where do you want to be? So I'll use myself as an example. Let's say I was at 1 30 years ago. I'm up at 10 now. So it's been a journey. But you might be at 3 or 5, but you want to be at 10. So that's your first assessment. Because when you assess where you are, you know what your goals, it gives you more of an idea to where your goals are. So that's the first one. Now, the second one, if you can see it or if you've copied it, is health. And the reason health is so important, because unless we're healthy, we can't do anything. And so from 1 to 10, where would you rate yourself now health-wise? And where would you like to be? And I'd say I'm probably at about an 8. At times when I was in Australia and I got really sick, I was probably about a 3. I'm at about an 8 now. I can still get better. So what about you? Where are you now, and where do you want to be for your health? Now, the third column, if you've got it or want to copy it down and you want to do a rating of 1 to 10, is relationships. Now, relationships are the hardest things in life. It involves other people. It's easy to deal with figures, because figures don't talk back to us, and figures haven't got any emotions. But us, we have. So is the other person. So the relationships are the hardest thing in our lives. They are also the most important, because we learn from relationships as well. They are the most rewarding and they are the most challenging all at once. So the third column, it's about love. It's about relationships. Now, relationships, the ones you start with are with family. So mum and dad and siblings, aunt and uncles and cousins and all of those sorts of things. And then it extends out to friends, lovers, partners, husbands, whatever order you want to put them in. Colleagues, work colleagues. So generally, where would you put yourself with relationships? Are your relationships okay? Are they all difficult? Are they all negative? Some of them positive and some of them negative. And I'll share a story because it gives you an example. So I went to live in Australia because I wanted to see my daughter some more. I'm in New Zealand. I thought I'll go and live in Australia, and not too close, about 3-5 hours flying away, because they're happy, and I went to a place where I love with boats. I got sick and I ended up back in New Zealand, and I'm still in New Zealand, and I'm very thankful to be here right now. So I sent them an email a couple of days ago and I said, girls, by the end of the year we should be able to travel from New Zealand to Australia. I want to come and see you for my birthday. And wow, they came back and said to me, oh mum, we're too busy, we're studying and we've got work, and when we've got work experience. We're not getting paid, so we have to work in the weekend. And this went on and on. They sent me to, and you know what? I felt very unloved and very, very unloved. And so I thought, okay, so I'm the only person that can change this right now. So I did send them back and said, and then I sent them another email and sort of said, okay, so what about in 2022? And I wrote down 2020 by mistake. And then they came back and said, no, that's no good. And then finally, after many emails and messages, we've got it that we're planning for Easter 2022 that I can go over to Australia and see my girls. Now, those relationships have been challenging at times. They're my daughters, and they're very forthright, and they're very confident, and they push my buttons, but I taught them to be like that. So that's with all of our relationships. It was the communication, the not feeling loved, the going with another answer, then asking questions before we got an answer. And that's what we're doing with all our relationships. But unless we've got relationships, life's a bit boring. You know, it's not so much fun. So, you know, we can be on our own watching TV, sitting at home, but unless we're having some time with people, we're not achieving everything we want. So where's your relationships and where do you want them to be? So, you know, I'd probably have put myself at 4 one time. I'm probably up at about an 8 now, 7 or 8. Where's your rating? The next one I want to talk about is work. You've got to rate yourself from 1 to 10. How happy are you at work? Are you got the job you love? You know, what are you from 1 to 10? And where do you want to be? So I'll use mine because it's an example. You know, I've been jobs I've hated, but I've had to do them for the money. But now I'm in working that I love. So, you know, I've gone up that scale as well. The next one, if you've got the column, is about finances, money. It's about abundance. Now, you can classify them all together, or you can separate them into money and savings and whatever you want to do there. Now, one of the things that it's important, it's not covered in this courses, but I talk about personality. There's 4 personalities. The peacock and the dove are dreadful with money. They base their decisions on emotion. So they spend money to make themselves feel good and others feel good. The dove and the eagle, which are analytical people, they won't spend money. So they'll have money, but they can be unhappy. So even just understanding yourself, how you are, helps you to analyse which personality, how you're dealing with it, and also, is it a weakness of yours, which money is for me. I take risks, and so I have to work really hard at saving money. Whereas for my brother, who's an accountant, I mean, that's all he does all day is count money. So, I mean, he's got lots more than me. So understanding yourself a little bit helps you analyse yourself there. So that's the work one. Excuse me. So we've done work, finances. The next one, now I've got it called other. You can call it spirituality. You can call it whatever you want. I'm a very spiritual person, not only because the chaps upstairs were talking to me for 40 years, so kind of like, you know, I had to learn. Whether spirituality for you is following your intuition, which is still an inner guidance, or going to church and believing in God, or angels, or Buddhism, or anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You choose that for yourself. Where are you? Where do you want to be? And the last one I put in there is a project, which can be that you're saving up for a car or anything. Now, put a bit of an explanation of that in the workbook as well, so you'll be able to see that. What we've done is you've seen where you are, where you want to be. And the next thing that I want you to think about are what are the 3 most important goals. So you've done, say, 6 areas. Which area is the most important to you right now? Is it you becoming the better version of yourself so you're happier? Is it you getting healthier? Is it you improving a relationship? Is it a relationship that a goal you want to do with work? So decide on your 3 top goals and write them down. So if you haven't done the workbook, just copy that out. Just write them down on a piece of paper, just so we've got you there. Now, while you're writing those down, I'm just going to I've come over here to my bed so that I can spin around and show you how I've got some of my goals up in my room. So I'm a very visual person. So I see these goals every day. I see my yellow Mustang that I still working towards. I see that the movie's sold. I see places I want to visit, which of course I can't visit right now because we're in lockdown. I've got the rainbow around me, which is my meditation and things like that. So when you understand your personality and how you set goals, that's something that you can do as well. There's lots of different things. I've also just created a mind movie for myself so that I can get some new goals into my subconscious belief. But first of all, it's you deciding what your 3 goals are. Now, the next part of that is once you've got your 3 goals, if you go to the next page, and I'll just put up here as well again, if you've copied it out, and for each goal, we won't probably have time to do this all right now, but you can do it after. For each goal that you've had, write down 3 ways that you think you might be able to achieve it. So let's use health, because that's an easy one. Say you want to be healthier and fitter and stronger, and I do. So one of the things to be fitter is that I could go for a walk. I could join a gym, and I do both of those, and I do Pilates. So that's fitness goals. Healthy part of it, because if I want to be healthier, it could be that I eat healthy food and I don't eat nibbles like I ate some yummy cake before I came on here today. Oh, sorry, ladies. It was delicious cake. And maybe don't drink as much alcohol, which I don't drink very much, but I had a couple of glasses of bubbly last night with family. So those are 3 ways that I could be healthier. So I want you to think for the 3 goals that you want, which are the ways, how can you achieve it? So that's what we're looking at here. And then once you've done that, if you haven't done them all right now, but on the workbook, the next thing it's got is what do you think is stopping you from achieving those goals? So let's say we're using the health one for me, and you using your own. I'll just use my example that I want to be fitter, healthy and stronger. And that what could be stopping me? It could be stopping me that I don't wake up in time in the morning to go to the gym or go for a walk. So therefore I've got to find a solution, and my solution could be that I set my alarm every morning, and then my solution, and then I feel like I don't get enough sleep, so then my solution is to go to bed earlier at night. And then I find I don't eat dinner till 9 o'clock, so I might say, oh, my solution is I'm going to have dinner at 6:30 every night. I'm going to go to bed at 9:30 all night, every night. I'm going to set my alarm at 6:30 in the morning so that I can go to the gym or go for a walk before I start my day. So what we're looking at is your goal, what's stopping you, and what are some solutions that you can implement in your life that are easy for you to do, so that you can do them. And so what you're going to do is you're going to do that for each of those goals. So you've got 3 goals, 3 ways you can achieve them, and what's stopping you from each one so that you can start to make some changes for yourself. So now I'm not quite sure if I've got the questions coming up here. Hold on, just see if I can get this on my computer right now, because I'm working on my iPhone, and I might be able to, if you ladies want to put up any questions, I might be able to see the questions on Facebook. I don't know, I don't really like this new layout on Facebook. I keep getting lost on there. So while I'm just getting up on that, I'll get into the page and see if I can find any of your questions. But it may have just come up on that I'm on live on my phone and not on the computer, probably. I think that's what's happened. I've had this before. I don't seem to be able to be live on 2 things. Okay, so we will just move right along then. Now, if you've got any questions, please put them up in the Success Attitude group page, and I'll answer them later on. I just can't seem to access both things right now, and I'll get an answer to you. So now the next thing what I want to be able to you to have a look at is I've got a graphic there, and the graphic is about success. And it says, I need to put my glasses on it because I printed off a small copy so that I could show it on the phone to you. It says, which step have you reached? First of all, it's I won't do it for a goal. Next one is I can't do it. And the next step is I want to do it. And the next step is how do I do it? And the next step is I'll try to do it. Then I can be it. I will do it. And yes, I am. So when we're looking at setting goals, we go through all those processes. And the other thing, we think that a goal, we're just going to go straight up that ladder, those steps. Let me assure you we don't. We usually go up and down, up and down, up and down a few times, have a few failures, go up, and then we get stuck. And then we decide, oh, we've got to set some better goals, and we go up again. So success at your goals just doesn't always come really, really easily. The biggest problem is this stuff in our head. Now, what's happening with our thoughts, like what we did before when we talked about the fears, is that our past anger, belief and everything, if we let our mind take over, it will create negativity, our ego will take over in our life, and we will fail. So what we've got to do is create new neural pathways in our brains to be able to subconsciously achieve a goal and make it easier for yourself. Now, Louise Hay's always said this, and people have always said this, is you can use affirmations. Affirmations are great. It's a starting point. You can have them. I mean, I think I've got some over there somewhere I've got something over there. I've got a gratitude thing that I've got on the side of my page. You can have a gratitude. Oprah always has a gratitude journal. So what you're wanting to do is, when you're wanting to be successful, all the different steps that you can take to create new thoughts in your brain that will help you achieve. Other people, unless you've got some positive people in your life, will want you to fail. So you've got to sort of let that go and go on your goals for yourself. So affirmations, the mind movie, have a look at mind movies. I've just done one myself and I've used my own pictures and my own music, Search for a Hero. I've done that because that's the movie music, and so I relate to that very well. So, and that's what you do with that, is you do your goal and you watch it every night, and it goes into your subconscious mind. And that's our subconscious mind, our belief from our past, when we've been told we're too fat, you're never going to lose your weight, or you're silly, you're never going to be able to achieve that idea, or, well, you're lucky you've got somebody to love you, and all these negative stuff that somebody has said to us or we've thought ourselves. And we've got to override that so that we can achieve it. So we've got our goals, we've got the top 3, we've written how we can achieve it, and we are looking at what is stopping it. So the stopping it is how we're going to change our brain to be able to do it. And then it's understanding that your brain needs to be rewired to do it. So I've listed a whole lot of things that you can do, 10 ways to achieve your goals that will make you happier, because it's your goals. And plus, the most important thing as well, every time you achieve a little step, you feel a little bit more confident in yourself. And that's really, really important. So, and I've got a little confidence test we're going to look at in a moment. So our 10 things I've got listed. Write your most important goal every day, create a plan, do the free things first. Then, like, you can write affirmations for free. You can go I've got some affirmations on this page. You can go onto Louise Hay and find your affirmations list and write down affirmations for yourself. And then once you've done all those, that gets you started, and then you can start investing in yourself. So we did those ones. Where's my next page with all my 10 things? Oh, we're on the next page over here. So the number 4 is, of these 10 things, be grateful every day for what you achieved yesterday. Grateful about life, and write it down to be more powerful. So Oprah writes in her gratitude journey every day. What gratitude does, it puts you in the same wavelength energy as divine, as God, as spirit, or whatever you want to call it. And so when we looked at this diagram right back here in the beginning, where's it gone? When we looked right back down here, we are very egocentric down the bottom, negative, guilty, hateful, blame and everything. When we've gone up to the top, we're into enlightenment. So we've risen up the level. And so when you do a gratitude journal, that immediately takes you up here. And I've got just put one up on the side of my bed there, which is just I've got hanging up. I just moved into this little house for a wee while. Well, I've really got so much work to do this year, so it's like let's just downsize and chill out and work. So that was number 4, gratitude. Number 5 is learn what your challenge is. So find what it is, and we talked a little bit about that. Learn how to overcome it, and that was talking about an overthought. Take small action steps every day. Create a mind movie. I've talked about that. Take a course or get a coach. So those are some of the things that you can do. Now, what I also wanted to do is, we've missed a little bit here in my book. Oh, I've gone to missed a page. Now, I didn't know number the pages. On this page here where I'm talking about confidence, because we talked about happiness, what's going to make us happy. So Mr. Google says that confidence is the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something. Now that someone needs to be yourself. That needs to be yourself. So the next thing, so as you achieve a little step of your goal, as I said before, you get a bit more confidence in yourself. You think, oh, I can do that. It's like me if I'm trying a new recipe, because I'm not a very good cook. I'm a useless cook. I take fish fruit platter to our Christmas do every year because everyone knows I'm not a particularly good cook, and I'm okay with that. I do other things. But I tried something new last year. I did some little pavlovas and made all different fruit salad to go with it, and it was quite good. It was neat, so I felt a bit better in my cooking abilities. So we've got to, if you achieve a little thing towards your goal, every day you get a little bit more confidence in yourself. You believe in yourself a little bit more. So that's confidence. And then self-esteem is confident in one's own abilities or worth. So as we are creating and achieving our goals, we're getting more confident in ourselves so we can do it. We are feeling better, so our self-esteem is going up as well. And so that's how we combine the happiness and the confidence in ourselves as well. So we're feeling a little bit better. Now, I've got an example in there. I've got my definition. My definition is self-esteem is believing in yourself that you can achieve something, and confidence is that you can do something again or do something new. So you've done it before and you think, oh, I could make that little dessert again, or I could go for that run, that kilometre again, or I could have another day where I've eaten really healthy food all day. So you're starting to believe in yourself because you've done it once, you can do it again. And that's what we're looking at. Now, I've got an example here down in the workbook. I've put it down here, but it's down for me. So I've got a self-esteem as an example. What I've used is that if you put your mobile phone and your remote for TV and your microwave and do anything, you can't just use it correctly the first time. You bought it because you want to have some better reception, some new gizmos on it, something to do something new on it. And it takes you some time to do it. Now, there's actually 3 learning stages. The first one is, I can't do that. The second one is, I've got to read the manual every time to do it. I read the manual, I'll get some instructions, and so I read that every time. And then when you practice it 95 times or 100 times, you remember how to do it because you've got some new links in your brain, new pathways in your brain, so your memory has been formed. How to do that task in your brain, and so now you can do it automatically without the manual. Now, that's actually how we learn. So when you have bought your new phone, that's what you're doing so that you can learn how to use it better and get all the new tips and things that you wanted and gizmos that you wanted, which is why you bought it. Now, when you don't know something, what you do is you might ask a friend, or you might ask somebody, or you go and read instructions, or you take it back into the shop. You'll go looking for the answers, so you'll be able to use your new mobile phone or television. Everyone expects that, and we don't have a lot of beliefs in our head that we're not going to be able to learn how to use the new mobile. I'm saying that last night I used something new on my mobile phone, so I'm still learning all we want to use a phone and you can take the photos away. So we've got a reason for it. Now, when we go back to those three goals that you go back to those three goals that you chose, your reason is because you want to feel better. You want to look better. You want to be healthier. You want to have more money. You want to, whatever it is, you want a new lover. You want a better relationship. Whatever it is that you want is the reason that you're doing that goal. Because you're going to feel better. Now, the feeling is the heart thing, remember? And the thinking is the mind. So we feel this, but we've got to think how we're going to achieve it. And so that's why I say every little step every day, you write down what you achieved. That's going to make yourself feel better. So that's what you do with my book. And the second exercise in the booklet is you doing that same thing for your goal. How confident, so the questions that you've got to ask again, where would you rate your self-esteem, believe in yourself, to master your top goal? So we'll go back to the health one because that's what I've been talking about. Where would I rate myself? Well, I'd probably rate myself to achieve my goal at about an 8. Mind you, today I had some cake and some alcohol and bubbling as well, so I made it go down to 7. So, but normally during the week I'm better. So that's what I'm asking you to do for your goal. Where are you with your goal? And then the second question there is, where would you rate yourself to have the confidence to achieve it? So I would rate myself pretty good as a 7. So do you think you're going to be able to achieve it? Because that's where you're looking for the help. If you're down at a 3 and you think this is really, really hard, that's when you need to do things like your affirmations, your visuals that I've got, so that you're creating new pathways, your mind moving. So you've got something that's going to keep on repeating it all the time, even if it's, 3 times a day. Anyway, but that gives you a bit of an idea now on cricket. So you're looking to do that for your goals. Where are you, where do you want to be, and how are you going to achieve it? Now, let's make this. This Facebook guy's tricking on not seeing what. Sorry, girls. So maybe this is much easier. Okay. So what you're doing is deciding where you are, where you want to be, how you're going to do it, what tactic are you going to use so that you can change your mindset to be able to achieve it. And that's what you're looking at. So it doesn't matter what works for you as long as you find something that works. So the exercise in the book gives you some ideas of some of the things that you can do. And I've gone through the other 10 bits and pieces. Copy down the book. What I've got written down there is a diagram, which is all you and the different parts of your life. What's the best version of you? And that you're aiming for. So I've been aiming like that for 30 years. I've done lots of different things. I've been pretty close to it lots of times. But what is it that you can do? So look at what's free, what you can start first, and then decide what it is that you can do that's going to be achievable for you. Now, what I've also written down in the back of that booklet, if you want to, there's a whole lot of things that you can do if you haven't already got them, where you can go and get some playlists, tips, and there's self-esteem tips on my YouTube channel. There's some PDFs if you've got the booklet, or if you just open it online, you'll be able to use the links. If you're ready for a free success strategy call with me, so we can have a chat and decide how I can help you to give you some tips to move forward. There's a link for that as well, and you can click on that. I'll also put something up on the Facebook page as well. So there's lots of freebies there that you can have a look. You can go onto my website, and I've got those listed in the workbook, JaniceDavies.com, and there is also a book, How to Be More Positive. What's it called? There we go. 10 tips to create your more positive future. So you can go into JaniceDavies.com, and there's a free ebook up on the top of that you can do. And as I say, there's lots of videos, there's lives, there's things on YouTube that you can do as well, or my videos that you can watch. The other thing, if you're really true, what I've still got that on that $47 course. It's really great. I kind of cover the happiness video again, and I cover some of the things that we've been talking about today. I go into a bit more depth. It's got more workbooks. It's got more videos on it, but it gives you some more ideas and tips so that you can start to move yourself forward towards the goals that you want to achieve. And the most important thing that we've all got to realise is that the world is different for everybody. I mean, we're fortunate here in New Zealand more than a lot of other countries. We're small, so we can go into lockdown really quickly. But for a lot of you around the world, you've still got big challenges. And so how do you cope with that? How do you reduce your stress? How do you let things go? How do you pull in things that are going to make you happy so that you can cope with everything that's happening to you and in the world and the life that you're people in your life. So I hope that gives you an idea. And we've also got affecting us all. It is a new age, new divine feminine age that's coming in, which means that we are getting more in touch with who we are as, be it a man or a woman, our human side of us. We're becoming more heart-based. So there's that whole being kind to people, being kind to ourselves first, and not beating ourselves up if something doesn't get done, making sure we're resting and looking after ourselves. And that's really, very important because we've got to make sure that we can to cope with everything as possible, to cope with everything that's happening. And so this year we had a magnificent full moon here in New Zealand, and I put a photo up on my success strategy page, some of the photos. It was just beautiful. So we've got that. It's a Leo Aquarius moon. It's affecting us because it's helping us to release things, and then also, and what we've got to do when we release it is to embrace it. So release that negative energy, release the anger, the hurt, the past, the grief from the past. It's been and gone, and so the more you get it out of your body, the healthier and the better you're going to be, and then start to be grateful for today in this particular second, like this second, nanosecond in your life now. You have got control of releasing, and you've got control now to do that, and you've also got control of creating a future for yourself. So the decision that happens in this particular second of your life is a decision that is going to give you happiness, more confident that you want to be able to create a happy, more successful life for yourself. So ladies, I hope that gives you lots of tips. Put the questions up on the Facebook page. Have a look at all those freebies. Book success strategy with me. We can have a chat. And so what we do there is we look at what you've got, your goals. So this will be great. And we talk about your biggest challenge. And then I give you some tips, which are some of the things that I've got some extra things that I give in the success strategy call, and decide what we're going to do, how I can help you any further as well. So I hope you've enjoyed that questions, and take care, everybody. It's a tricky world. Be gentle on yourselves. I found my cards, my